Hi, Mike Barrett here for testingiseasy.com, and in this video you're going to learn something extremely important. You're going to learn how it is that standardized tests can be gamed. One of the things that I always hear when I explain to people, how I approach standardized tests, they always think it's kind of like a gimmick or it's some sort of cheap kind of, insincere sort of way to go about the whole thing. And I understand where they're coming from, because to a person who's not really familiar with how a standardized test actually works, it can certainly seem like the types of things that I advocate doing are really not in the spirit of the test itself. Well, in this video, I would like to sort of open your mind a little bit to what's actually going on with standardized testing and to a better way that you can think about standardized testing. And the tool that I have chosen to aid me in this quest today is the Wii, because, well, if anybody's ever invented a better teaching tool than video games, I'm sure I don't know what it is. So I want you to notice that behind me here on the screen, I have the startup screen to my favorite video game of all time. This is Ninja Gaiden from the old original Nintendo set. You probably actually may not have ever seen this game before, I don't know. My brothers and I have spent many Thanksgiving evening playing this game amongst one another at family reunions when everyone else has gone to sleep. So I'm very familiar with Ninja Gaiden. Holds a special place in my heart. What I want to point out about Ninja Gaiden is you see here clearly the word ninja, right? All over the game. It's called Ninja Gaiden. When you actually start playing, there's a little picture of a ninja. That's going to be me, by the way. Here's the word ninja again, right? And right there on the screen, the little guy in the purple pajamas, that's my ninja character, and I make him run around and do all kinds of ninjoid activities against ninjas like this, right? Bam. Okay. Now, clearly, as I'm sure you can tell, I'm awesome at Ninja Gaiden, right? Obviously. I am not, however, awesome at actually being a ninja. And let me ask you how that can be the case. Well, it can be the case because Ninja Gaiden is a video game, right? It's not actually about being a ninja. You don't have to be a good ninja to be good at Ninja Gaiden. In fact, I'm sure that the two things are completely unrelated, much to my chagrin, because I'd much rather be a ninja than a good Ninja Gaiden player, but alas, this is my lot in life. So it's kind of obvious, right, that a video game can't actually be a test of your ninjutsu ability. And how stupid would it be if I tried to get better at this video game by reading this book, which, by the way, is about ninjutsu? That would be dumb, obviously, because this, even though it uses a little ninja guy, and even though he runs around and, the word ninja appears here and there throughout the game, clearly being good at this involves knowing how to use one of these, and not anything about actually knowing how to do what's in this book, right? Standardized tests are exactly the same type of thing. A standardized test cannot possibly be a measure of your ability to think logically, if we're talking about the LSAT, or your ability to do math, if we're talking about the SAT or the ACT or the GRE or the GMAT or any of those things, right? It can't actually test those things. If somebody wanted to test how good you are at being a ninja, for instance, they would give you one of the belt tests in ninja stuff, right? You'd have to, I don't even know what, like jump off of a huge building and survive, or turn into a bat, or whatever it is ninjas do. I'm not even actually totally clear. So you'd have to do something like that to show that you were a ninja. You couldn't just be really good at this and show anybody that you were a ninja, because this, again, is all about the controller and how well you can use it, right? If you actually wanted to test how well someone can reason, you would have a debate with them. You'd sit them down and say, okay, defend this position, or argue that position, or whatever it is. You would not say, here's a sheet of paper, please fill in the appropriate bubble that signifies a good debate. That doesn't work, right? If you wanted to test how well someone understands math, you would give them an oral examination in math. You would sit them down and say, please explain to me the Pythagorean theorem, or whatever it is, and explain to me why it works the way it does. Explain to me what other things we know because we understand the Pythagorean theorem, how we can apply it to things like the unit circle, the distance formula, whatever it is. If a person were able to discuss those things back and forth, they would have to be very good at math. And the way you would be testing that, again, is by actually engaging them in some sort of discussion of math. Standardized tests don't do anything like that whatsoever. They can't, right? Just like a video game can only ever be about how well you can press the right buttons at the right times, a standardized test can only ever be about how well you fill in the right bubble at the right time. That's it. That is literally the only thing a standardized test can ever actually measure, how well you do that one thing. Just as this video game, as much as I wish it was actually about being a ninja, can only ever really be about how well I use this controller. And I use it really, really well. But anyway, so I want you to remember when you are taking your standardized tests and when you're preparing for them, if you try to prepare for them by actually learning what they claim to be about, you are essentially doing the standardized testing version of trying to use one of these to get better at this. Right? You can get as good with nunchucks as you want to get, and you're not going to be any better at Ninja Gaiden. You can get as good at Ninja Gaiden as you want to get without knowing anything about these. And for standardized testing, it's exactly the same thing. If you bring a calculator to the SAT-1 math test, you might as well have brought one of these down to the basement to help you play video games. It doesn't make any sense. Do not make the common mistake of taking a standardized test at face value, just as it would be ludicrous to take a video game at face value. Obviously, a video game is constrained by the limitations of the video game system itself and the TV and all that other stuff. Well, standardized tests have their own constraints, right? And if I want to get better at Ninja Gaiden, I better familiarize myself with this, and I better start practicing, and I better, observe how the little things move around, the timing they have, and stuff like that. None of which has anything to do with being a ninja. And if you want to get better at the SAT, you better start paying attention to how the SAT is put together. If you want to get better at the LSAT, don't learn how to, reason, I can't even talk. Don't learn how to reason things out logically. Don't go take like a formal logic test in college, or class rather in college or anything like that. Look at the actual test. Look what is consistently rewarded and consistently punished in the test and learn that, Do not, I want to say this one more time, do not make the very, very, very common mistake of taking these things for granted. Don't take them at face value. Look at what's actually going on and study what's actually being tested, what's actually being rewarded. If you do anything else, again, it's like using this to get better at that. So I just want to sort of try to open your mind in this video very, very quickly, open you up to the possibility that maybe, just as there's more to being good at this than actually being a true ninja, maybe there's more to being good at a standardized test than actually knowing the subject matter the test claims to be about. This might help to explain, just putting this out there, why you know so many people who are really good at math but not so good at the SAT or the ACT or the GRE or the GMAT, right? Or you may know a lot of people who got really, really good grades in English courses devoted to persuasive writing and stuff like that, but they can't break a 140 on the LSAT. It's because the tests are not measuring the same things that the other things are measuring. The tests are not actually measurements of math ability, reading ability, writing ability, thinking ability, whatever. They are measurements of something totally different. Just as, say it for the last time, this video game, which I love to pieces, is not actually a measurement of ninja-like ability. It is only a measurement of how much of a loser you are and how much time you spent with one of these, staying up all night with your little brothers playing video games over Thanksgiving break. That's what it's a measurement of. So again, just want to open your mind to that. Think about that for a little bit, and in the next video, I'm going to explain to you, now that we've realized that, okay, maybe there can be more to this, I'm going to explain why the gaming approach, the strategy approach, is the best approach. Okay, so again, in this video, just planting the seed, maybe it's possible. In the next one, I want to show you why it's the best. So thanks very much for watching this. Think about this for a few seconds. I'm going to go back to my video game, and in just a moment, I will meet up with you again and start to explain to you why it is best to approach standardized testing and video games from a strategical, tactical perspective, rather than from a subject matter perspective, which is just ludicrous, frankly, asinine, any of those words you pick. Okay, talk to you in a minute. Thanks.